And what did you think of the film?
I thought it was really well done. I've had all sorts of doubts about his death since watching the Kurt and Courtney documentary, and then I also read that book. There's one of the authors from the book. He was in this documentary a lot. That was written by two professional journalists many years ago, and they brought up all sorts of evidence, poking holes in the suicide theory, and it's really great that Tom has spent all this time pursuing all these details, and it's very well done. It's very damning against Courtney, and she's just amazing that she was able to escape punishment all this time. It's really amazing.
Do you think the film brought out and made it very clear that the case should have been handled differently, and that it was not a suicide, and that?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's real obvious that they just jumped to the suicide conclusion way too quickly, and then there were all sorts of cutting corners, like they were just being so lazy and they just wanted to wrap it up really quick, and they just went for that idea. They just bit that hook way too quickly, and it just sabotaged any normal, competent investigation from happening. So many screw-ups, that investigation. So
Okay.
It was really great. It's really well done, very thorough. Every detail's laid out real explicitly. It makes you think, how Courtney should really suffer some consequences. Like, are the statute of limitations, has that passed already? I'm sure a lot of people want her hauled into court finally for this. And I hope she is.
Okay, just express what you thought of the film.
I went in with high expectations and I walked out with even higher expectations. It was so carefully directed, even from a small time director, and it was really incredible. And the fan base that came here, it's not even just a bunch of just rocker kids. It was like adults were here, kids were here, and going online and even seeing how big his fan base is even going to be amazing, maybe a month or two to come, to see what even really happens. And some people will stop sticking up for somebody who's a psychopathic murderer and has 3 trails of dead bodies behind her, and it was just I was really, really shocked by how it was made, because it was probably one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. And I've seen quite a few about Kurt, even homemade ones that people just put up on YouTube, and it was probably the best I've ever seen, especially with the music, the Sarah Scott acting, a lot of it was incredible.
Do you think it portrayed accurately like what actually happened in the film?
Yeah, I don't think Tom Grant would exaggerate her body movements when she was laying on the bed, because as we all know, if you see Courtney at her rock shows back in the 90s, she was always very open and loose, and he put that to a T. That I'm sure she was lying on the bed with her, her night dress on and being loose. I don't think he would exaggerate at all, and I know he doesn't have every single year recorded, but I think he was very honest about what everyone said to him in the interviews and how Dylan acted. Especially, I was incredibly impressed with the Dylan Carlson actor, because his really low voice, his grungy, like smoky voice, he portrayed it to a T. It was amazing.
And if you see the Kurt and Courtney documentary, that's how kind of Dylan acted when you saw him.
Exactly. Yeah, and that
they brought that out because a lot of people. That proved basically that part of the film. Kurt and Courtney, I liked Kurt and Courtney, but that part of the film was one of the main things that was inaccurate in the film. And I'm glad that they mentioned that and said, hey, listen, that doesn't fly.
Especially when they interview Kurt's aunt, who was barely a part of his life, and just because she thinks it's suicide, that we should believe it just because she's blood related, which he could have had a good relationship to her, but I don't know, but it's, interviewing the wrong people. And people that say that they were friends with him, they probably really weren't even friends with him. So.
Right. Kurt's grandfather. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, I think he died back in like 2002.
Yeah, but he said he said it was murder.
I heard he was
Kurt's
really
grandfather
open,
said
and
that.
people would go to his house all the time, and he would talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that he would just knock on your door, and he would bring you in and speak to you. I heard he was really nice.
Okay, go ahead.
The film made me feel really comforted because as a fan and as a person with common sense and any cognitive ability, you have your inconsistencies in the story and what happened through Kurt Cobain's death, and to see these things come to life on screen, all of the thoughts that you had in your head and the doubts that you had been thinking for the last 20 years makes you feel a lot less crazy to know that there's factual evidence behind it.
Did you tear up during the movie? I'm not going to put that last you, but you told me that you did, so express it.
I did. It made me emotional.
Say it.
I got emotional. I teared up a little bit. I did wish that we brought tissues because it's extremely emotional. You know, you feel a certain level of bond between yourself and the musician through music, and I do feel personal with Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, and I got really emotional.
There's anger too at times.
Yeah, I was
to,
pretty pissed. Yeah, I got when I saw all the evidence mounting against Courtney Love.
All right, go ahead.
Thought it was a excellent movie. Really enjoyed the way it was laid out and the way they used the real life dialogue to tell the story. I think it was very well done, and I'll probably see it again.
Thank you. Just recently, Tom Grant posted something about how Courtney had her lawyers call every theater that Soaked in Bleach was playing in and threatened to sue them. Overall, she lost because I guess he said only one theater actually felt threatened and didn't play the movie. The weird thing is that as soon as we were in there before the movie started, somebody came in and said they couldn't do a question and answer part because of legal reasons. We didn't know what it was, and then I told my friends who I was with, I was like, you know what, I bet you Courtney Love called up every single theater, you know, that this is played in across the world and threatened to sue them or whatever, and it turned out to be true. Yeah, that's pretty wild. But anyway, I can't say enough good things about this film. This film was wonderful. The way it was edited was good. How the whole timeline was put together, you know, and Tom was definitely very honest to the film. I'm sure he didn't try to exaggerate anything. He pretty much told his experience throughout the film, and then you had all that evidence proving that he could not have killed himself, and he didn't. So, how about we get this movie in every... Courtney can't sue or even try to threaten to sue every single theater in the United States. All that's going to do is bring attention to herself. But either way, if she does try, then maybe that'll bring more attention to this situation and get this case reopened. And we all want it to be reopened.